Hey, what is up all of you soundies out there? I'm ROZILIO and welcome to this video where we're gonna talk about how you can build your own studio desk for not a lot of money compared to what you're paying when you buy it off the shelves. As you probably know, studio interior is crazy expensive. You can pay like on the lower end $200 and all the way up to thousands of dollars for like a desk to keep your music gear on top of. To me that's a bit crazy, so that's why I decided to make it myself. I wanted to build a desk that had like all of those features that I need to make music and sound design, but without paying those like insane prices. So in this video we're gonna go through step by step how you can build a studio desk yourself for only 150 bucks. And if you intend to follow along, you can go down in the description and download the blueprint for the desk. It's free, there's no email signups or anything like that. It's just a Google Drive link and you can just go crazy. Step 1. Finding your materials. Wood can be very expensive, so if you want to save some money here, a good tip is to go the used route. I found some really cheap recycled plywood. I put it all on a trailer and like drove it home. We got it. We got the wood. And the reason why I chose recycled materials for the desk is because it's cheaper and because it's way better for the environment. Yeah, special thanks to Gandrup Builders Merchant for hooking me up with all of this wood. And since the desk is designed to be made out of one single piece of industrial plywood, I only had to buy one of those, and that only cost me $63 for all the wood that I would need to make the desk. And then I really wanted the ability to make the desk a standing desk. So I searched the used market again for electric standing desks and found one for super cheap and like kind of funky looking electric standing desk, which was totally fine because I was only going to use the legs. That was a deal and a half. Step number 2. Cutting a ton of plywood. With the help from my mom, who's an architect, we designed the desk to be functional, easy to build, and without any fancy woodworking joints that I would definitely screw up if I tried. The desk will be made out of a piece on the top, a piece on the bottom, and then a lot of pieces in the middle. The reason why we are going with this design is because it's minimal, it's very clean looking, and you get a lot of storage underneath the desk. In there you can have your MIDI keyboard, your sampler, your PlayStation in my case, a power station for charging up all your batteries and stuff, and on the back a cable management spot to hide all your cables and make it look super clean. This space in between the two countertops, I found that for my MIDI keyboard and for my gear, a height of 98 millimeters, almost 10 centimeters, was the perfect height. I have also made a slide out tray for the MIDI keyboard to fit inside of that middle section of the desk. If you want to check that out, you can click up here in the top right. Now the desk is also open from all sides. That is for two reasons. One is for easy accessibility, you can just easily grab things and put things in and all that. And the second reason is because I have no idea how to make joints look pretty. And I didn't want to risk it, simply. I wanted to make a desk design that would be so easy to build that even I could do it. If you decide to use a circular saw to cut out the plywood, be careful not to cut it too slow, because if you do, you might end up burning the side of the table and create some dark spots on the side of the wood. That was a mistake that I made, and I found that cutting it with a normal saw is a lot easier in terms of getting rid of that problem, but it takes forever. So I ended up just rolling with it, and I burned some of the sides, but in general I managed to get it done. And we're done. Step 3. Sanding. Now that you have cut out the 2 big pieces and all the 5 smaller pieces for the desk, it is now time to sand everything down. And again, you could use a machine sanding device I chose to do it by hand. Yeah, I guess it's a budget build. If you have a power tool for sanding, then use it, because you're gonna save a lot of time. When you're sanding the plywood, be sure to sand it with the grain and not against the grain for the best result. It is really worth taking your time with this step. Always maintain steady pressure, use a sanding block and go up in grit gradually. I started with 100 grit and then moved up to 120 and so on. And actually already at 120 grit it was very smooth. Step 4. The oil. So after you're done sanding everything, now it's time to put on a coat of white pigmented wood oil to protect the surface against grime and liquids and to prevent the color of the plywood to alter over time when exposed to sunlight. So if you want to keep that natural white plywood color, then you need to give it a few coats of white pigmented wood oil. Before you start out, always read the manual and make sure the surface is clean, dry and dust-free. Then you need to moisten the surface with a cloth and let it dry. After that, put on 2 layers of oil, the second layer after maximum 30 minutes while the oil is still wet. And then also while the second layer is still wet, you need to polish the surface with a nylon sponge or just a normal cloth. In my experience, that's fine. And just keep going and remove any excess oil with the cloth before it dries to be sure not to leave any oil stains on the surface. And then finally let the oil harden on the surface for 16 to 24 hours and you're done. This oil treatment makes a lot of difference for the look of the table and it's worth it, but it's a long process. But just stick to it and the result will be great. Now I had a dream to make the desk a super cable management monster. I just got a little idea. I think it would be really cool if we had holes in all the middle parts inside the desk so that we can have cables going through from one side to the other and in between the different sections. So for that reason I cut a lot of holes in all the different pieces that goes like in the middle of the desk to make like some invisible cable management ninja stuff. In step 6, putting it all together, I decided to go with some angled connector fittings, simply because, again, that was easy. I found these super cheap connector fittings and it made it so easy to connect everything. And then I just had to place them strategic places where you wouldn't see them when the desk was finished. First I connected the bottom countertop to the legs of the electric standing desk to have like a straight foundation. And after connecting the bottom countertop to the legs, I connected all of the middle parts of the desk to the upper countertop by flipping the upper countertop over and then arranging the different sections with the middle pieces for the desk. You can totally be creative with like the middle part of the desk and make it so that it will fit for your equipment. And when all that is done and you have the layout that you want, then screw everything together to the upper countertop with these angled connector fittings. And then take the bottom countertop, which is connected to the legs of the electric standing desk, take that and put it on top of the rest of the table, so that you now have the entire table upside down. Then connect the bottom countertop to the upper countertop, and then flip the entire thing, and you have a desk. We got a table, man! What? It's gonna be beautiful. From here I had some extra things that I would like to do to the desk. I made a cabinet door on the back of the desk to hide all the cable management. It's 70 centimeters times 9.7 centimeters, and there's a little hole for some cables to go through to my center speaker in my 5.1 setup, which I think is very cute. And other than that, I have made like a pull-out shelf for my MIDI keyboard, which you can check out by clicking the link in the top right. Up in the top right, you can also find a link to my video about how I made my acoustic panels and those slat walls in front for dirt cheap. It was a steal. Acoustic panels in the stores cost way too much. If you're planning on getting yourself some acoustic panels, make them yourself. You will save so much money. Yeah, if you want to see how I built this entire space, you can click this link. And other than that, I'd just like to say thank you for watching, and if you take the blueprint and make a desk like this yourself, it would be super cool if you would send me an image on Instagram. You can find me there at ROZILIO Sound. That would just be so dope. If you found this video informative or helpful, please give it a like. That would help me out a lot. And consider subscribing if this kind of audio, sound, geeky stuff is what you're all about. Thank you for watching. Have a good one. Catch you in the next one. Peace out.